Avian enthusiasts are calling on Oklahomans to help protect birds during their migration season this spring through a campaign called Lights Out Oklahoma. I spoke with avian researchers to learn how turning off a few lights can help improve the ecosystem. Spring has sprung and birds are in peak migration. Environmental enthusiasts say Oklahomans can play a role in keeping birds safe during the season by a simple action like turning off a porch light.
The Lights Out for Migratory Birds campaign is really a public information campaign to help people understand one small change that they can do every year, which is just turn out their exterior lights and keep lights from shining outside at night, can help hundreds of millions of birds come to and through our state during migration.
Birds migrate at night using the stars as their guide. But Inger Grufrida with the Oklahoma Animal Coalition says exterior lights can often interfere.
And so when we turn on a light, even just like one light out in a field, but of course you can imagine like what a stadium or a city might look like, it can actually cause birds, flocks of birds, to veer off their path and get lost on their way. And often what ends up happening is they find their way into like the urban built environment, which is filled with all kinds of hazards, as you can imagine, for birds.
Interim director of the Sutton Avian Research Center, Dan Ranking, says excessive light can even lead to a bird's death.
Tall buildings especially can be disorienting to flocks of birds migrating at night, and they'll either end up circling round and around a building because they're disoriented, or they'll fly into the glass and become injured or killed.
They can even run into power lines.
And even worse in some ways is that they get stuck within this urban infrastructure, separated from their family members, their flock members, flying around trying to find them, using up extremely valuable caloric resources that they need to complete their migration.
Birds migrate primarily in the spring and again in the fall. But peak migration in Oklahoma is April 15th through May 30th.
Migration really varies from one night to the next, how big it is. I looked at data for just the last couple of days, and 2 days ago, about 4.5 million birds were estimated to have flown over Oklahoma County, for example, and about 4 million birds flew over Tulsa County. And the next night, only about 1,000 birds flew over Oklahoma County, and only about 300 birds flew over Tulsa County because there were unfavorable north winds on that second night.
According to the Cornell Labs Birdcast, more than 180 million birds migrated across the United States on May 7th. Ranking says not keeping birds safe could impact avian population.
Well, bird populations in general have been declining over the last 50 years for a variety of reasons, but the number of birds that die from collisions with windows every year numbers in the billions. So it's a significant bird conservation issue that people are now trying to address with these Lights Out campaigns that I think began in Chicago over 25 years ago now, and have since been spreading across the country to Dallas and Houston and Philadelphia and St. Louis and Oklahoma City, and they're building a campaign in Tulsa right now as well.
He says there are a few ways to help prevent window collisions, such as screens, stickers, or decals like you see here.
You can see the amount of reflection you're getting in these windows. It just looks like more trees in the background here, but those white dots give the birds something to cue in on to realize that that's not actually a pathway that they can fly through.
Birds have a significant impact on the Earth's ecosystem.
Birds have a variety of impacts on human lives. They're primary predators of insects, and insects can in some cases be major agricultural pests, backyard pests. So they're beneficial in many ways there. They're very important to our economy, with literally tens of millions of Americans being interested in bird watching and spending money on trips and field guides and binoculars.
Grufrida says folks often object to turning off their exterior lights due to the concerns of a break-in.
The truth is most burglaries happen during the day when people are at work, so you're not really deterring people who want to break into your home. And secondly, when you do have exterior lighting, it actually provides more shadows for people to hide in. So motion activated lights and alarm systems are always going to be more effective to deter people with ill intent around your property.
She says you can also see nature better when you turn off your exterior lights.
When you turn off your lights, you're also going to see more stars and planets, and that's cool. So darker skies equals more stars at night, and that's great for everybody.